Hello there, Dr. Brett Spradlin, Divine Design, Natural Health, and we are here for a wellness workshop. Who all is here? Yes, there's our crowd of under 9 people. We pay attention to the rules. We're under 9. We don't go to the 10. We're under 9. Okay. A couple things, a little bit of housekeeping before we get going. This right here, this little schedule, Spring 2020 Well Works. What do we got? Mondays at 6 p.m. That's where we are. Sorry about starting a little bit late, but I'm sure you understand we're in the middle of a global scamdemic. April 13th today is Lies Doctors Tell. That's part 2 today. Why part 2? Because I've got a list of things that we are not going to get through today. April 27th, What's the Buzz? 5G and pulse electromagnetic field therapy. Here's the little handout for this. If y'all didn't get one of these, this will give you a little reminder. Why don't you hang on to that or pass that around or throw it in the wastepaper basket, whatever you want to do. What's the Buzz? 5G and PEMF. What is going on with 5G? This is a continuation, too, of a class I did back in November. This is all about 5th generation wireless technology, all the towers you see going up. It might have a little bit of something to do with CV, which you're not hearing about. We're going to talk about all that. And when we shut the cameras down, we're going to answer questions, and we're going to talk about 5G and its connection to what's going on in the world right now with the global scamdemic. May 4th, Essential Oils, Biblical First Aid Part 2. That is another continuation of Biblical First Aid Part 1 that we did about a month ago. May 18th, we've got the ABCs of CBD. Everybody's asking about it, but it used to be so demonized. Why is the switch? June 1st, the evil parents of autoimmune disease. Where did all these autoimmune diseases come from? You've got scleroderma, you've got, pancreatitis, you've got diabetes, you've got fibromyalgia, you've got all these, or not fibromyalgia, you've got irritable bowel syndrome, you've got Crohn's disease, you've got all of these multiple sclerosis, all of these autoimmune conditions that were never recorded in human history, ever. Until about the last 60, 80, 100 years, we're going to talk about the evil parents of autoimmunity. Two bad mamma jammas got together and had a little baby called autoimmunity. Bonnie and Clyde got together and had autoimmunity. And we're going to talk about who the parents are. June 15th, we've got the roots of your pharmakia healthcare. I've been meaning to drop the bomb on Cleveland concerning this one now for a few years. So the roots of your pharmakia healthcare, I'm going to tell you where it came from, what its goals are, and where it's going. And you're going to look in the mirror and say, how could I be so deceived for so long? I hate to tell you, but we've all been there. Speaking of deceived, let's talk about what's going on in the news right now. We are locked down. We are hearing, and please turn that down so I don't have to hear myself. Gosh, that'd be horrible. But we are in the middle of a lockdown, and there's some very interesting things going on right now. Most of them untruthful, most of them being very subversive. And I don't mean to be subversive. I do not mean to be the harbinger of bad news, but I certainly don't mean to make light of a very serious situation. People are losing their jobs. People are losing their livelihoods. People are dying. Are people dying? Yes. They always have been. They always will be. Is it because of exactly what we're being told? No. Are the stats skewed? Yes. Has this been planned? All signs point to yes, and you don't need a little 8-ball plastic crystal ball to tell you all signs point to yes. If you have logic in your mind and you can divorce yourself from emotion and thinking, well, so-and-so would never do that, or why would they do this? If you can divorce yourself from being emotional and think logically, you'll look at this thing in a very different light and go, I smell a rat. It doesn't seem right. All the motions of people, the major players, are not matching up with the numbers of things that we're seeing, no matter what country you're looking at. Why do some countries not have it? Why did Beijing and Shanghai not get hit at all, but the rest of China got eaten alive? Crazy, isn't it? Why did Italy go under? Why did America go under? So why is Sweden wide open? But why is Denmark pushing for mandatory vaccinations? They're neighbors. You have to look at this stuff and go, we're not being told the whole truth. So I'm saying to resist the narrative, and I'm just going to say this right at the very beginning. Resist the narrative that you're being told, because we know there's 6 companies that own all the media, probably down to 5 in a very short amount of time. And you can hear the same thing on this channel as you hear on this channel. Interesting. They work in different cities. So who's telling them the narrative? You have to look at this stuff, you guys, and just be logical about it and not be emotional and say, okay, well, maybe if we weren't told the whole truth on X, Y, Z, is it possible that maybe we're not being told the whole truth on ABC? I mean, the logic is there, right? How many people come here, just to give you an example, because they didn't believe the lies that they were told? How many come here because, I just don't feel good about giving my kids shots? Or how many people come here because they just got tired of procedures and deductibles and copays and prescription costs and premiums and all these things? How many people come here because they realize there's stuff in the water, there's stuff in the air, there's stuff in the food, there's stuff in the medicines, there's stuff in the shots, there's stuff in the cleaning supplies and the cosmetics that they don't want to put in their body? So what do you have to first realize before you walk into a place like this? You have to realize you've been deceived. And that's the first step in true learning. The first step in true learning is realizing, you know what, I don't know everything, and maybe what I did learn was a little bit suspect. So resist the narrative, because there's a lot of false information going out there. What you're hearing is not sensible. Just think about it. We're shutting down the economy to stop a virus. Okay, now, there's other things going on besides this virus. I will tell you that right now. You're being told a narrative on TV. Some of it's deceptive, and some of it could be for our own good. I won't get into that right now. We'll talk about that later. But shutting down the economy to stop a virus, when did that ever happen before? Doesn't make sense, okay? So it's not sensible. Another thing, quarantine is a term that you've been placed under, but quarantine is something that was always reserved in medicine to put sick people to quarantine, to put them, or if you're a vet and you put these sheep in a pen to keep them away from the other sheep, that's quarantine. You quarantine the sick people. What's happening right now is not a quarantine. It's tyranny, okay? But we'll get more into that later on. And your rights are eroding day by day. In Michigan, I'm from Michigan. Hi, Michiganders. Howdy, howdy, howdy. There's a group up there called Michiganders United Against, or Michiganders Against Excessive Quarantine. The governor in Michigan, we've had a long line of psychopathic governors. That's the cold weather. That's all it does. And she banned buying seeds, buying vegetables, buying American flags. You can't go motorboating. It's a Great Lakes state. There's more water than there is land in Michigan, but you can't go boating. So you can be in Walmart, 1,000 people at a time, but you can't be out fishing on your own on a boat. I mean, it is the absolute epitome of asinine. Absolute. There is no reason for it. Can't buy an American flag. Imagine that during July 4th. You think anybody would be up in arms? Yeah. Come on in, darling. So we're dealing with all this. It's nonsensible. It's not sensible. It's nonsense, because most of this stuff, it's a asymptomatic. You get a cough, you get shortness of breath, you might get a fever. Most people are recovering in 24 to 48 hours. And most of the time when people are listed as having previous, now I'm not saying, are people dying? Yes, people are dying. Is there a virus? Yes, there always has been a virus. Are there hundreds of viruses, thousands of viruses? Yes. Have thousands of people died from many other things? Yes. Is there a bacteria? Yes. Are bacteria killing people? Yes. Are parasites killing people? Yes. Is fungus killing people? Yes. Are viruses other than COVID killing people? Yes. Are we talking about any of those? No. Nonsensical. Does not make sense. So we're dealing with everything here in our current modern day deal for an asymptomatic thing that most people do not succumb to, that are now asymptomatic and okay within 24 to 48 hours. Nonsensical, okay? It's not truthful either. COVID numbers. I've got this. You know what this is? Cause of death stuff. Vital statistics, reporting guidance. This is a guidance for certifying deaths due to coronavirus disease 2019. This is from the Department of Health and Human Services. This is from the Centers for Disease Control. You've seen many doctors probably talk about this document, where this is helping them to fill out the death certificates. I don't do death certificates, but many doctors are talking about, this is the 7-page document I got from the CDC saying how to fill out the death certificate on COVID patients. But the thing is, it's not just COVID patients. If they have many other conditions, the way you fill this out, it all of a sudden looks like they died of COVID. You know, they died of this thing that you're being told is killing millions of people. Doctors are putting on YouTube. That's where I found this just floating around. I think it was on Facebook somewhere. A doctor said, "Hey, this is what I just got. Let me read it." Here, he put a copy of it on his page, and I checked it out, downloaded it, read through it, and I'm like, yeah, it's legit. That's really what they're saying. It has the thing right here where you can mail the stuff back, or the little thing. No, it could could come through the mail. Here's the actual thing for Centers for Disease Control. And you put the doctor's name here. You fold it. I think it came in his mailbox. I mean, it's got the center. It's got everything right here. It tells you how to fill out the death certificate. And if it's this or this or this or this or this, unless it's a gunshot or a motor vehicle accident, it's COVID. Right there, how to fill out a death certificate. Cause of death, how to fill out the death certificate. So people are talking about this. Nurses online talking about, hey, here's my hospital that I work at. It's dead. Only thing is that I work at the hospital that the news said was overrun and overwhelmed with COVID patients. And the nurse is there with her own camera saying, yeah, this isn't right. So it's not truthful. What you're being told is not truthful, okay? We have empty hospitals, staff laid off. Half my practice, I treat medical professionals. I'm treating PAs, nurse practitioners, RNs, bunches of RNs. I'm treating respiratory therapists. How's this treating you? How's this treating you? What are you learning? What are you seeing? I'm dead. I'm getting my hours cut. Nothing's happening. I mean, you guys have heard it too. Everybody's nodding, right? So, yeah. I mean, besides the whole testing, all the testing, this document right here down at the bottom, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, National Center for Health Statistics, and National Vital Statistics System. That says it all right there. So are our statistics even truthful? Who knows? We got the first statistics from communist China. Are those numbers right? I have no idea. Will anyone ever know? No. Does anybody have an idea? No. But do we know that we're being lied to about some of this stuff? Yes, absolutely. So if you cough, you can be diagnosed with corona. Will that increase the numbers or decrease the numbers of cases? Massive. If you know what happened with polio back a while ago, this is the exact same thing that happened with polio. How polio was diagnosed, the numbers go through the roof. If it's a cough, if it's this, if it's that, if it's anything acute, if it's an acute respiratory thing, it's polio. And then the reward for diagnosing of the polio goes away and from the doctors, and then polio numbers crash right at the same time as something was introduced to make sure that that thing looked like it made the difference. Then, 20 years later, you just rename polio. Yeah, you don't hear about it anymore, do you? Interesting. We'll get into that later. Actually, we're going to talk about that in another couple of classes that I just mentioned. We'll talk about that later. It's not truthful. It's not sensible. It's not faithful. What is this preaching more than anything? It's not preaching faith. It's preaching what? Fear. Which is the exact opposite of faith. Right. So I've got people coming to me saying, hey, our church is praying for a vaccine. I say, oh my God, are you kidding me? You're not going. Oh brother, there it is. My church is praying for a vaccine. Well, you're not going to a church.
No.
I hate to say it.
Absolutely.
Other people that are afraid and fearful. I saw people, I don't want to call anybody out, but there's some people now getting very upset about, I think it was the mayor of Chattanooga that banned cars going through a drive-through parking lot church, even if you're 6 feet apart, even if you're every other row, every other parking spot, but you cannot go to Easter, or I should say Passover. You cannot do that, but you can drive through Chick-fil-A, or you can go to Walmart. It's
There was a mayor in Mississippi that was issuing $500 tickets for
Yeah.
everyone that was at a drive-thru.
$500 tickets. Mayor in Mississippi, $500 tickets. People have lost their gourds. This is clown town. Do you hear me? So this right here, honey, this is just the beginning. Okay, this is what we're talking about right here. I'm not meaning to throw anybody under the bus. I've got a lot of people I know in the medical profession. Doctors, I've heard chiropractors say stupid things. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is all of this stuff that we're hearing has led people to think that they don't have an immune system. They have to wear a mask and gloves, even though they're chewing on their gloves and moving their mouth. They're touching their face more than people who don't wear masks. Because you're dealing with a whole population of people who've never had to wear a mask before. So I've worn masks for hours and hours and days and days. I've worked around dead bodies for hours and hours and days with dead people in front of my face. If you cough into them. I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. Or you cough into the bucket of intestines, or you cough into the liver. You just don't cough onto another person. It's interesting that all of this stuff, the Purell and the hand sanitizer and the antiseptic and all the stuff that's flying off the shelves will cause more sickness than the virus. And you're not being told any of this because it's all nonsense. Anyway, it's not faithful, it's fearful. And here's the deal too. People doing drive-through communion services with masks and gloves. What's communion for?
Cleansing.
To remember, cleansing. Was it anybody else? Health? Healing of the body. Okay? That's all I'm going to say about that. I could peeve off a whole town right here in about 30 seconds. I won't do it. It's fear. It's all CNN. It's all Fox News. I don't care who you watch. It's all scripted. It's all crap. Turn off your TV. Murder your television set. You will thank me later. You will have so much free time in your life, and you will gain new hobbies. I promise. Churches are shut down. Walmart's open. We already talked about that. But it's not logical. No, think about it. Think about what you're not hearing. What is it that you're not hearing in the news? You're not hearing anything about, hey, cut the sugar, increase your diet, eat some plants, get rid of the processed food. What drives an infection? Sugar. Everybody knows. You go to the grocery store, all of the green produce, wide open.
Yeah.
All the Pop-Tarts and cereal and granola and crap, bye-bye.
Shelves are empty.
That tells you, right here, it tells you we've been programmed for decades to not think critically, to be vaccinated, to be fluoridated, to be glyphosated, to be medicated, and to be absolutely docile and stupid. Ugh. Tell you what, if you're not upset by some of this stuff, you don't have a pulse. All right? They're spraying the planes with chemicals now, so when you get on a plane, you can take advantage of the 14 hours of antiseptic spray that they've been doing. Yeah. Oh, there's shower curtains at the post office now, separating you from, because viruses, yeah, it's separating the stalls at the post office. So, of course, viruses can't get through shower curtains. I mean, it's Clown Town. This is absolute Barnum and Baileyville, is all it is. It's absolute craziness. I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm saying think critically and come out of the stupor and come out of the smoke screen and wake up and see what this is doing to people. We're going to get more into why here. Just want to cover a couple more things. They're not talking about, it's not disclosed. We're not talking about diet. But we're not talking about 5G. Nobody. Have you seen this? Nobody's mentioning 5G. But I'm going between here and Chattanooga a couple times a week during the no driving, no going anywhere order, and I see new towers going up every day. Every day I will drive, and that tower will be half finished. I'll go past, and it'll be finished the next day. Who's working on these things at night, and why are they wearing masks and gloves? I'm wondering. That was a joke. Who's working on these things when we're shut down? These towers are going up in the air. Who's putting them there? I want to know. But they're not telling you. We've got 25 towers between here and Chattanooga that I can count, that I can see off the highway. That's off of 75, 25 of them. From downtown Chattanooga to here, 25 is the best count. And I'm probably way off because I'm probably just driving and thinking and praying and, oh, God, what's going on? And I'm seeing the guy driving in his car by himself wearing a mask, and then I start talking to myself. Driving in his car by himself. I saw Harley people, a guy and a girl on a Harley the other day going down the road wearing surgical masks. I saw a guy then huffing up Keith Street right here on a 10-speed, just huffing with his spandex and everything else, and just wearing a face mask. I'm not making fun. I'm just saying, you're out in God's green, fresh, open air, and you are thinking you're going to catch a virus from somebody passing by. This is not going away anytime soon. And it sickens me, and it disheartens me to think that Christians in this town would be so deceived by some of this crap. You want to save me with a commercial break? Fabulous. Commercial break. Woo!
Okay. All right, this is a testimonial about our pulse electromagnetic field therapy. He says, I had my first PEMF therapy yesterday. Wow, I wish I could do one every day. Talk about increased circulation. Feels a bit weird at first, but after I got used to it, it was like, whoa, your cells start waking up and let the party begin. As I left, I felt relaxed, refreshed, and clear-headed. Never have experienced anything like it before and can't wait for my next session. Thanks for the cool therapy. P.S. I told my wife she has got to try this. And that was just a couple weeks ago, his first one.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, so PEMF, we'll talk more about that, pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. That's your way out of the 5G mess, one of your ways out of the 5G mess, and we'll get more into what that means and how that works and everything else. So just to tie up the loose ends of what we were talking about earlier, I love people. I wouldn't be doing this job if I didn't. And I hate deception. I despise when we are misled. And I spent my whole life learning stuff that then I grew up and I realized, wow, that wasn't right. I mean, we all have. Whether you know it or not, we all have. We grew up hearing some things that were not right. So it depends on how much of that you want to embrace and how much of that you want to turn away from. Because what you're going through right now is a push for 5G. It's a push for mandatory vaccinations. It's a push for all the things that you do not stand for. It's a push for global surveillance. It's a push for digital currency. It's a push for a lot of bad things, Christians. A lot of bad things. So I don't want to be the harbinger of bad news, but I want to be the bringer of some light here so that we can say, wake up, smell the roses, talk to your family members. They're going to think you're crazy, but you know what? They're going to think you're crazy anyway. So get over it. Get over it. What do? Are you crazy for a good purpose, or are you crazy for something silly? Be crazy for a good purpose. Get something done for the kingdom. Do something big. Stand in the face of this. Resist the narrative is what I'm saying. All right, so lies doctors tell. This started out as kind of from, years ago. I would just keep a kind of catalog, a running catalog. I do that with a lot of things. But this right here started out as just patients talking to me, telling me stories. And me saying, they told you what? What'd they mean? Well, they said this. Okay, but I have to write this down. So it started out that way. And then it just grew and grew and grew and grew. Last time we did this, March 16th, I think, was the last time we did the part 1. That's on Facebook. It's also on YouTube. You can look back at a lot of our old material on Facebook and YouTube. We've got classes on there all about fluoridated water. We've got classes on there all about cancer. We've got classes on there all about shots and injectants and words I can't say without getting censored. We've got videos on there about genetically modified organisms, all kinds of stuff. So this was March 16th that we did a class on Lies Doctors Tell. It was a hit. It was a Broadway hit. But we only got through maybe a fifth or sixth of all of the things that I'd come up with the help of patients. So now we'll start at number 17, but I know we've got some funny memes too, don't we? Or are those at the end? Yeah. Okay. Do you want to do those at the end? I'm fine. Let's intersperse them. Let's do some comic relief up front. Let's do some memes right here. This will make you laugh. Because there's some crazy stuff going on out there. U.S. government offers free health care to Southern rural blacks, intentionally injects them with syphilis. Y'all know what this was about. What was the name of this? Tuskegee experiment. You don't know about it? Look it up. U.S. government offers free health care to Southern rural blacks, intentionally injects them with syphilis. Intentionally. You still want that vaccine? Think about it. And I will not ever engage in some argument with pro-vax, anti-vax, pro-vax, anti-vax. I'm pro-science, man. I'm pro-human. You want to know what else is in those vaccines? We'll have a go around. We'll go around. We'll have a go around. Next. So, I was at the grocery store the other day, and I thought, these aren't going to be around for very much longer. There weren't a lot of them missing. Next. And then Corona beer changes their name to avoid association with the coronavirus outbreak. They went with something a lot milder than Corona, Ebola. Because remember when Ebola was going to kill everybody? Mm-hmm. I thought that was hilarious. I just thought that was hilarious. Changes their name to avoid association with something much worse. Corona. Next. Oh, perfect. If you need 144 rolls of toilet paper for a 14-day quarantine, honey bunny, you probably should have been seeing a doctor long before COVID-19. Come on in, buddy. I'd never seen that one. The girls found some of these too, and helped me to help and put all this stuff in here. So some of these were mine. The Corona picture, I took that one at the store the other day. I'd never seen this one. They said this one was very popular. Had you? You guys had seen this? I had never seen it. Next. This was a little closed off a thing at Costco the other day where back in the corner, like where all the toilet paper and water and stuff is, and they had all the cats' toys there with do not enter signs. And I'm so glad because I was actually thinking about crawling. Like, take a picture of that. Has the whole world lost their marbles? What is going on? Is everyone on crack? Anyway, okay, okay, so we'll save more for later. I hope you all can see what that was, because do not enter, that might have saved my life. Unbelievable. So we stopped at number 16 last time, where we left off on they've lived a good long life, okay? Now we're going to go into we don't have them numbered. But how many times have you heard this? Your condition, remember, lies doctors tell. Remember the conditioning. Remember the things we've seen in the media. Remember how we got to where we are now, where half your neighbors are praying for a vaccine and the other half are reading their Bible. Okay? Your condition's hereditary. How many times have you heard that? Arthritis? Oh, it runs in your family. Diabetes? Your mom had it. Cancer? It's hereditary. I learned in graduate school to get my doctorate. I learned there. They never taught me any of this stuff. I've had people accuse me of, in chiropractic school, they teach you all this nonsense. No, man, I learned autism was genetic, I learned cancer was genetic, and I learned vaccines were good for you. It took a little bit of waking up to come out of that. Come on. Yeah, chiropractic school teaches vaccines are good when chiropractors have been against vaccines forever. But your condition's hereditary, heard it a million times. Your allergies, your mom and dad had it. I mean, think about that. What does that mean? Two things I'll tell you. Medicine gives homage to two things, two causes of all disease. I wrote this down a little while ago. I'll do it again. Number one, anybody know what it is? Lacking trauma. Those are the two reasons that all diseases happen according to medicine. So, germs and genetics. So if it's not genetics, well, your arthritis, well, if your mom didn't have arthritis, no. Dad didn't have arthritis, no. Where are you left? Then where are you going? What's the only other option? Well, you're screwed now, aren't you? But, and I will write this down too, we talked about this, I'm not going to get into it right now, but if you don't know who these guys are, it's another reason we're in this stupid mess. Because half of us believed in Louis Pasteur when we should have been listening to Antoine Beauchamp. Because this is the germ theory of disease. If there's a bug and you catch it, you get the disease that the bug causes by releasing the toxins. This guy here said, you ain't going to get the disease if you have a nice, robust immune system. Which is the one thing that the media is not mentioning to you, how to build your immune system. If they do, they're telling you, take 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C and take 10,000 milligrams or 10,000 IUs of vitamin D and take 5,000 IUs of vitamin A and just go down and get it at Walmart. Jesus, you can't make this up. This is just clown town. Barnum and Bailey, 3-ring circus. Fox, CNN, MSNBC, I swear. So this guy here, this is where pasteurization of milk came from. Okay, you heat it, you kill off all the bad stuff, but guess what? You kill off all the good stuff. When you see ultra pasteurized, you see that name. Beauchamp was the guy who said, it's not the germs that cause the disease, it's the terrain. In other words, if you've got all kinds of these diseases, all kinds of these immune problems, or if you've got all these things affecting your immune system, your chance of getting a disease is going to go way, way up. Who gets the disease that we've just been talking about for the last 15 minutes? Older people, right? When you see written out that so-and-so was, is tested, you'll see this in the media all day. So-and-so tested positive for coronavirus. Or you'll see it the way it's worded in the headlines. It'll say, patient died after being positive for coronavirus. It doesn't say they died from coronavirus. It'll say they died after testing positive. See? So many times you'll get, to me, when you read someone had pre-existing conditions, people like me, there's only one way to read that. They were on a lot of medications. So pre-existing conditions means that they were on a bunch of drugs. Right or right? Right. Always. So if they had pre-existing conditions like COPD or heart disease, or they had previous cancer, they were being seen for fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue and irritable bowel and diarrhea and constipation and all this other stuff. How many drugs were they on? Were they eating good food? Probably not. Were they buying crap that what we talked about at Walmart? Even if they were on supplements, were they taking good stuff? No. Sugar, 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 sugar. They're not telling you that on the media. So if we know that this is crap, what do we know about that? Why did all these people who were taking care of the Spanish flu victims back 100 years ago, the doctors and the nurses, you see pictures of the Spanish flu, and you see pictures of the beds on both sides. You see these doctors and nurses walking up and down. They're not wearing masks. How'd they live? They had an immune system. What happens with all of these? What happened to the people in the bubonic plague, Black Plague? Was that the hoity-toities, the high-ups, or was that the people on the street living in sewage? Think about it. People eating good or people eating crap? Literally eating crap. Think about it. So I don't want to beat a dead horse, but the condition is hereditary. I've said it before. I'll say it again. If the only thing that runs in your family is a disease, you should start running. That's a joke. You can laugh. I don't condone running, but your condition is hereditary? Nonsense. Nonsense, nonsense. How do I know? Autism. Your condition is hereditary? Show me the mom and dad that had. How many autistic people reproduce? You seen any? Me either. The autism, it's genetic? Show me right now. Show me a 40-year-old autistic person. Yeah. Show me a 45-year-old autistic person. Yeah. Show me an autistic person. Show me maybe a couple of autistic people that are female, and the rest of them will be male. Mm-hmm. Every time. Mm-hmm. There's a reason. It's scientific, and it's not what they're telling you. Got it? Next. Isn't this happy? It's good to be set free, though, from this crap, isn't it? It's good to kind of come at this and look at it and go, you know what? This is what we're being told. Next. If you'd have waited one more month, you'd be dead. How many times have you heard nonsense like this? Mm-hmm. How many times? If you'd have waited another 2 weeks, how do they know? What kind of crystal ball do they have, and where can I buy one? Can you get it on Amazon? I mean, this is the nonsense that I hear, that you hear, that we hear, that we all, your relatives have heard. This is the nonsense. It's programmed in. I'm convinced at some schools they probably teach the way to say it and how to break it down. I'm convinced. It's a psyop. It's total psychological warfare. Number 20, or at least number 20 on my list. You need this pill, but I wouldn't take it either. In other words, I've heard this from so many other people. They don't necessarily word it like this. But if you say, would you give your mom that pill? Well, no. Would you give your sister that? Would you give your wife that pill? Well, what would your wife take? Just the way that it's worded to people, it's known widely that the doctors giving you the drugs wouldn't give their wife the same drug, or their kid, or their mom. And if they say they would, I would ask if they like their wife, or their kid, or their mom. Okay, next. Oh, this one. All right. So you've got some people on some psychiatric meds. Well, let's just say this. You've got some people on some blood pressure meds. Hey, I want to come off these meds. I just don't really like the way they make me feel. Okay, yeah, sure. Come off of them. What happens? You're not suppressing the symptom of high blood pressure with a chemical pharmaceutical poison toxin to make your numbers on paper look better while you still have high blood pressure. You're not doing that anymore, so you're not taking the drug, so your blood pressure goes crazy, your heart starts palpitating, you get arrhythmias, you freak out, you go back to the doctor, and you're like, I need help. See? You need the drug. It's hereditary. See? Imagine somebody on psych meds. Hey, I don't want to be on the Xanax anymore. I don't want to be on the Seroquel anymore. Okay, fine. You can go off of it. What do they know? You're going to crash. You're going to be back, and it's going to go right back to the same dosage, maybe even a stronger one. They know that. So there are ways for sovereign individuals, such as yourselves, to wean yourselves off of the toxic pharmaceutical poisons and to become sovereign individuals and gain your freedom once again. There are ways to do that. I do not take people off drugs. I have never taken anyone off drugs. I never will take anyone off the toxic pharmaceutical poisons. I just get people so healthy that they don't need the toxic pharmaceutical poisons. because we tell them the stuff and we teach them stuff that they've never been taught before. Oh, this is a good one, but I think this is a game changer right here. Commercial break, round of applause. Woo!
All right, this one is a little bit long, but it's a really super good one, and it's from somebody who is actually not a patient yet, but his wife is, so that makes it even better. He said, my wife reached her breaking point and said 2020 had to be the year she got healthy and lost weight. We have tried all the diets and exercise programs, but nothing worked. Mind you, she would do the diets and I would still eat the burgers and pizza. He said, what I failed to understand was how I was sabotaging her by having all this temptation around her. Ultimately, I set her up to fail before she even started. When she said she wanted to join the program with Divine Design, I told her, okay. However, this had to work. We were going to be investing a lot of time and money to make this work. After coming with her to her first appointments, I realized I was going to need to change my habits as well. In order for my wife to succeed, she needed my help in doing this program. I knew how much she wanted this, so this time I decided to change my habits too. I ate what she ate. We got rid of the bad foods, so there was no temptation. Here we are 6 weeks later, and my wife is winning at this. She is off her meds and has lost a significant amount of weight. I am so proud of her. The funny thing is, even though I am only doing the meal plans, I have also dropped 15 pounds in 6 weeks. It has been over 20 years since I have weighed this little. What a nice perk. Plus, I feel great. I am looking forward to the next 6 weeks and seeing where we are at. Oh, wow. And my wife is so happy. That is worth everything to me.
That's awesome. Who is that? I can't. Oh. Yes. I couldn't read the signature. That's awesome. Yeah. See, it's so much crazier now that you guys do the testimonials that I don't read them ahead of time anymore. Yeah, because I couldn't think who was that. But yeah. Wow. Not even a patient yet. Wow. Yo, Danny Lou Allen, you're out there. I know you're listening. You got to run for your money. We got another non-patient testimonial coming up. Danny Lou Allen, Danny and Kathy, they're out there, and Danny was the first non-patient testimonial. Somebody who did something like that said, "Hey, this is what I've seen my wife do," and he came on board as a patient, and we did the first ever video of a non-patient testimonial. It's hilarious. So Danny, you got your work cut out for you, brother. We're going to have to do another one. Yeah, and that's great. So guys, think of that. I went off, I think it was, on the women's health class was the one where I just scolded the husbands for being, I don't know, stupid, I think is a better word for it. Is about the only word for it. For women, change the diapers of the kids, and then as soon as they get done doing that, in a lot of cases, they're going to change the diapers of who? The husband. Why? Because the husband thinks they're indestructible and they don't have to eat or change or do anything. They'll just be on blood pressure meds forever and everything will be good. Incorrect. So you're sentencing the wife to take care of you for, another, putting you in the nursing home 20, 30, 40 years ahead of time. It's horrible. And guys are like that so often, and it's so sad. So it's so great to see somebody lost 15 pounds in 6 weeks just by changing his diet. And he's lost more since then. Unbelievable. So if guys could get on board with some of this stuff and not just do damage control, but do what they do on their John Deeres, their Chevys, and their Harleys, it's something called maintenance. I tell you what. All right. Ready for this one? I have heard this so many times. It's a knee slapper. Your bladder is too small. One patient put it this way: yeah, the doctor told me I have the bladder of a 12-year-old. Well, did you ask him where the other 58 years went? Where's your bladder? How your bladder just shrinks. Bladder of a 12-year-old. See, they always compare it to something diseased or rotted or everything's functioning. Oh, your heart's only functioning, your right atrium's only functioning to 10%. It's only doing 10%. See, the way they even word it, that's 90% efficient or it's 10% inefficient. Which way do you hear it? You always hear the inefficient part. I said that wrong, but you get the point. Your bladder is too small. How? How did your bladder get too small? It just magically shrunk. What shrinks your bladder? What activities or drugs or chemicals would shrink your bladder? Crack? Wow. Never heard that one. Crack. Spoken from experience, I suppose. Your bladder's too small.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That would make your bladder small? Not drinking enough water? Well, I mean, that's probably the best answer. But your bladder is, how could your bladder be too small, but your lungs are the proper size, is what I'm asking. How could your stomach, how could your colon be the proper size? How could your uterus be the proper size, but your bladder somehow didn't grow or is too small? What's happening? It's genetic, yes. She's getting this. She's getting it. So what's happening is, instead of saying your bladder's too, what's really happening is probably, maybe, hopefully, possibly, just think about this. You're eating or drinking or putting something on your body that passes into your urine and irritates the liner of your bladder, making you want to get up and go to the bathroom 5, 10 times. Maybe you have something else going on in your body where your kidneys are overworking. Maybe you got a previous injury, your kidneys screwed up. Maybe you got a surgery, something. You've got a prolapsed uterus or something going on with your bladder that's then causing the bladder. This right here is almost the only option that can't exist. Almost, right? It's like the most nonsensical thing I've ever heard. But I'd say not drinking enough water, that's probably one of the best answers I would suspect. Interesting, huh? Your bladder's too small. Next. This was a good one too. Skin problems. You have baby skin. I can't even say it without laughing. You have baby skin. 50, 60-year-old woman, you have baby skin. I don't want anything to do with that dermatologist. I don't want to know what, she had some skin stuff going on. You have baby skin. What would give you baby skin?
What is baby skin?
What is baby skin?
Baby skin is new.
I would think that would be a good thing because it's nice and soft.
Yeah.
No, this was not a compliment. This was meaning that her skin was not tough enough or resilient enough, and somehow, genetically, somehow her skin had not developed. She had baby skin, but she was 50, 60 years old. Crazy. Oh, this is, unfortunately, I hate to say this one, but you know what? You hear this all the time. And you hear this given as a way out. You hear this given as you're in remission. You hear this given as a way to absolve any responsibility of having doing anything further. Is that person ever cancer-free? Are we ever cancer-free?
No.
You're never in remission even when you don't have cancer. It's a word that we've made up. I won't go deep into it, but you're in remission usually means that they've stopped treatments or run out of insurance, the chemo and the radiation and the stuff like that, or that just means that for right now, you seem to have no symptoms. That's what that means, unfortunately. And I hate to say that because God knows. I teach classes on cancer. You can watch all this. Watch The Truth About Cancer, the documentaries, The Truth About Vaccines. Watch some documentary where they're seeing 50, 60, 70 doctors who are treating these things successfully and helping people rather than listening to, St. Jude's Children's Hospital. You know what I mean? Where are the miracles? I want to see. I'd love to see. And that breaks my heart to see kids sick. But this right here, yeah, why are kids getting sick? Why in America are we building hospitals for kids with cancer? Diet. Hello. Diet. And some other things, but that's the big one. Chemicals. Huh? That's all diet and other things, yes. And the two big nasty parents of autoimmunity, which we'll get into. Part of it, yep, absolutely. So you're in remission. I hate to say that. But because it's the people who are in remission, it seems, that I say, well, great, you're doing well. Then are you doing anything to bolster and to keep your immune system up? No, I'm just like walking and getting outside. Okay, but man, even if I didn't have a previous cancer thing, I would be taking supplements and I'd be eating like Lance Armstrong. Okay, maybe not Lance Armstrong. I'd be eating like Michael Phelps. Well, maybe not Michael Phelps. Who's somebody? I'm running out of heroes who haven't fallen. I'm running out of heroes. I'd be eating like an Olympic athlete who's doing the Olympics next year. The Olympics got canceled. I can't even talk about the Olympics anymore. Anyway, you get my point. This is it's just Clownsville. I just can't get it. This is another good one. I love this one. You've heard it. We've all heard it. Let's wait 6 months and see if it gets bigger. Have you heard it?
Yep.
Have you heard it?
Yep.
Have you heard it? So what's going to happen in that 6 months? More than likely, are they going to get better or are they going to get worse? If they continue doing what they've always done, they'll always get what they've always got. So where does that lead? That leads to a further procedure, CAT scan, MRI, blood lab, right? That's called being reactive 6 months from now rather than being proactive today. That's what that's called. Okay? Oh, I love this one, love this one, love this one. The benefits outweigh the risks. We've all heard this, especially if you're in the throes of ready for surgery, or if they're coming in ready to clamp down on your mom or your dad with a bunch of chemicals and stuff like that. I heard this one when the stuff went on my dad. Benefits outweigh the risks. And I said, oh, really? What are the risks? Tell me the risks. And let us all hear it. Next. Just don't spend a lot of time on that one. We need to keep your blood thin with,
Yes, friend.
yeah, interesting, right? Are there better ways to keep the blood thin than poisoning it with something that leads to dialysis and cancer and early onset dementia and Parkinson's and Alzheimer's? Yeah. What's the company who came up with this idea to keep the blood thin? There's one company that came up with this idea. Then the Bayer, B-A-Y-E-R. That's the German pharmaceutical company that used to be called IG Farben, which did what? Zyklon B, which did what? Killed Jews in the Holocaust. So fast forward 70 years, well, 40, 50 years from the Holocaust, the company that made the Zyklon B that killed the Jews in the Holocaust, renamed, just like what Monsanto just did, that merged with Bayer. See the pattern here? Now you've got a big, huge global conglomerate in charge of your drugs and your food. Oh, great idea. Recipe for disaster. IG Farben renames itself as Bayer. And then we've got all these studies that come out in the 50s and 60s and 70s and leading up to every single person that you know over the age of X probably is taking baby aspirin to control their blood viscosity. And aspirin leads to everything you don't want. Bad, bad, bad. So, they put the word baby aspirin in there because the 81 milligrams, just give it to your kid. Remember when they used to give aspirin to babies? Remember what it used to be called if they had a reaction? It used to be called Rye syndrome, right? You don't hear about that anymore, do you? Tylenol and Anacin and Bayer, and you don't hear about that anymore. There's another disease you hear about because the Tylenol, the acetaminophen, is in the vaccines. What are all the kids getting now? Starts with an A, ends with an M. Looks a lot like Rye syndrome, doesn't it? Check into that. You'll never hear of Rye syndrome. R-E-Y-E', named after Dr. Rye, I believe. R-E-Y-E, yes. Need to keep your blood thin with baby aspirin. How do you get everybody on a toxic pharmaceutical poison? Put the word baby in front of it. Perfect. This one, we won't spend much time on this. Your child has attention deficit disorder and needs regular narcotics. They have attention deficit disorder because they've not been educated on proper diet. How did we get rid of, all kinds of psychiatric problems? ADD is a psychiatric diagnosis. When you tell somebody, you look them in the face and you say, your kid has a psychiatric diagnosis, or ADHD, your teenager has it's a psychiatric thing that they will be diagnosed and they will be treated by psychiatrists, put on psychotropic drugs. They start all of a sudden understanding, well, I don't want my 6-year-old on psychiatric meds. But nothing gets through to them until then. But your child has ADD and needs regular narcotics. Isn't it easier to teach your kid how to eat than it is to stick them on stuff that's basically outlawed? If you were to cook it in a bathtub, it'd be outlawed. If you buy it at CVS, it's perfectly legal. Crazy. Yeah. Don't cook it in your bathtub. It's illegal. Just buy it at the store. Your bathtub has COVID. We can't have that. Your child has ADD. This, I cannot tell you. I have a personal vendetta against these drugs. I do, because I cannot tell you the number of lives that they've destroyed. And if you look at, there is a class that we have online, YouTube and Facebook, Chemical Imbalance, No Such Thing. I spend a lot of time breaking down the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, of psychiatry, and I spent a lot of time going through and showing you that there is no such thing. Is there a problem with the kids? Yes. Is it attention deficit disorder? No. Is it a disease that was voted on by a bunch of psychiatrists as being something that you can include in the DSM and the ICD-9s and 10s? Oh yeah, absolutely. Whole class on it, about an hour, hour and a half. I have multiple classes on that. Chemical imbalance, no such thing. And then the last one we did, most recent one was Land of the Free, Home of the Crazed. That was last October. Number 29 on my sheet, thank you very much. Oh, this led to a whole entire, oh man. Let's just manage your pain. Interesting, huh? This led to a whole entire opioid crisis that killed more people in 1 year than the entire Vietnam, killed more Americans than the Vietnam War. Won't spend a whole lot of time on that, but the pain meds, the opiates, the opioids, all of this stuff, the oxycodones and the Contins and all this stuff has led to an entire, to the point now where we're carrying Narcan in every school, every ambulance, every cop car has a zombie drug. You can bring people back from the dead. If they died from an opioid and you stick that in their vein and they come back to life, you know what they died of. I mean, I was shocked the first time I heard of this. I was shocked I didn't know about it. So who's selling the Narcan to all the schools and the bus drivers and the cops and the libraries? Who's selling all the Narcan? That's what I want to know. Yep. At the cost of thousands and thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people's lives. Pill mills, years ago, here you are, here's your prescription, here's your 80 milligrams, oxys, boom, boom, boom. Just like, there's whole documentaries on this thing. I talked about one a little while ago called The Pharmacist. It's like a 4-episode series. It was on Netflix, which I'm thinking about cutting. I thought, I'll watch some movies every once in a while. Well, there's no more movies. There's just documentaries about dudes with tigers. I don't understand. I'm sure everybody in here loves it. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what it's about. The Tiger King, I thought they were talking about Trump. I thought, I'll watch this. Great idea. But this right here, you can watch, it's called The Pharmacist, and it will blow your mind on how this whole thing went down. It's about 4 hours, just space it out. 1 episode per hour or whatever. It will very much blow your mind. That's all I'll tell you about that. Right here. This one. Why would this be a lie that doctors would tell? We've done everything we can do.
So they're not held responsible.
Well, so they're not held responsible.
They don't know what else to do.
Say that louder.
They don't know what else to do.
They don't know what else to do. So we've done everything we can do might be a heartfelt, genuine position. But it's an unintentional lie because they have not done everything that they can do. Did they teach that person? Did they teach that cancer patient how to detoxify that tumor? Did they teach them how to eat? Did they teach them how to take care of their immune system? Did they teach them what to take in order to bolster their immune system? No, they just fed them drugs. And once we get into the roots of the pharmacia healthcare system later on, here in another month or whatever that is, I'm going to walk you right through. Here's what happened, here's what happened, here's what happened. Here's why your medical system, here's why people come to me and say, I don't want to go to my doctor anymore. And I say, okay, why? Well, he just wants to give me drugs. That's why. The whole purpose, the whole plan, the whole thing right through history was aimed at getting people to the point where they just ask for a drug. That's it. So we've done everything we can do. Is that true or is that false? It's false. Every time. I would go through a checklist and I would say, did you teach them what water to drink? Did you teach them how to eat? Well, let's back up. You've done everything you can do? Did you pray with them?
Yeah.
Amen.
Now let's go forward. Did you teach them what water to drink? Did you teach them what food to eat? Did you teach them what food to stay away from? Did you tell them what supplements to take? Did you tell them what supplements not to take? We've done everything we can do? Not quite. Another couple, and then we'll call it a night. Do we have any more? Oh, yeah? Okay. Oh, yes. We don't know what causes it, but the drug will fix it. I cannot tell you the lunacy of that statement. That would be like taking your car to a mechanic and saying, well, we don't know why your tire's flat, but we think you need an oil change. How can you possibly,
Yeah.
if you went to a carpenter and said, hey, I got a hole in my wall, what caused it? I have no idea. Well, does it look like termites ate it? Does it look like a tree went through it? Does it look like somebody shot it? Does it look like a shotgun? Does it look, what? I mean, you don't necessarily have to know exactly what caused it, but the etiology of it would give you a clue as to how to fix it, would it not? Right?
Yeah.
Like the mechanic thing. Eric, if I brought a car to you with a flat tire, you going to give it an oil change? You are? Okay, perfect. Everybody go to Eric. Free oil changes right there. So we don't know what causes it, you smart Alec. We don't know what causes it, but the drug will fix it. It's always the drug will fix it. Interesting. This is a wonderful one. I will never forget this. Rheumatoid arthritis patient, lateral deviation of the hands, sunken in thumbs, swan neck deformities, typical things with rheumatoid arthritis. She was also great person, loved her. And she was also a hairstylist. She was also, she was, so like picking up scissors and raising her arms was getting to be very bothersome. Worked with her for probably about, and I mean, she made a turnaround like, she made a turnaround like this. Her bones started remodeling within like 6 months. Her fingers started straightening out. She was able to pick stuff up. I mean, I'm telling you, spleen stuff showed up, immune challenges showed up, typical RA stuff. This would be written off in the medical community for a lifetime of methotrexate or Humira, or name the toxic pharmaceutical. Methotrexate is absolutely straight from pit of a living hell. So when she went in she hadn't seen a rheumatologist. She was going to specialists for the whole thing. And she went into the rheumatologist and she came back to see me on the next visit or whatever. And she said, well, I went to see the rheumatologist and you should have been there. And I said, why is that? And she said, he said, this is the best I've ever seen you. Your blood work is great. What is going on? And she said, and I said, well, what'd you tell him? And she said, well, I didn't have a chance because he told me, this is wonderful. This is wonderful. You know, she'd been seeing him for 9 years and had been getting worse and worse and worse, and her fingers laterally deviating more and more and more and more and more. And it's getting to be a problem picking up stuff, right? So she says, he said, this is great. What are you doing? The drugs, after 9 years, are finally working. Did not give her body the credit, or even give God any credit for fixing the stuff, but said that finally after 9 years, the drugs are finally kicking in. What are you doing that's finally allowing the drugs to work? Can you balance that lunacy on your head for a minute? Figure that one out? I was stunned. I will never forget. So I said, did you tell him anything? She said, no. Why bother? Because A, he's not going to believe it, and he's going to poo-poo it. And B, he's not going to believe it, and B, he's not going to give anybody credit for it. So why? Why would you tell him? The drugs are finally working. Last one, I think, unless you guys are really hardcore, heavy duty. Have you learned anything so far? Do some of these sound familiar? Do some of these sound like what your parents and your grandparents and your aunts and your uncles and your kids and your cousins and everybody have been told? This is stuff gleaned from years of treating people. This is what they hear on a daily basis. These are not my words. Understand that. These are your words. These are patients. This is the hell that they've been put through by the current system in a society that is the most advanced technological society in recorded human history, but we have the sickest population. We have every drug, surgery, vaccine, and procedure. And they're pushing for more vaccines. You need to get that. You don't need to get the vaccine. You need to get that they're pushing it. Then when they come out, all these people thinking, oh, you anti-science, anti-vax people are the reason that the coronavirus. Have you seen all this stuff all over? Well, let me ask you this, Chachi. When they come out with a fibromyalgia vaccine, you're next. When they're all mandatory, they come out with a headache vaccine, you're next. They come out with a diarrhea vaccine, you're next. See where I'm going? They come out with an arthritis vaccine, you're next. They come out with, it never ends. It will never end. This one, we'll end right here. I heard One of my patients told me this too. Do you get this? Why would this be? Now, this isn't necessarily a lie, but it's a lie that he's telling it. Do you get what I'm saying? Just think insurance. If you're 2 inches shorter, insurance will cover your gastric bypass. That's the truth. But what he's saying is we need to make you 2 inches shorter so your insurance will pay. See what I mean? It's not a lie that he's saying it. It's a lie that he's implying, which when you take insurance, you have to play this game. I don't take insurance, so I don't play this game. I will not lie about this. No, Because when your BMI, your ratio of your height to your weight is a certain number, some insurances, not all, I don't know. I don't know how this works. I don't do insurance. I don't know anything about it. Don't want to know anything about it. I'm proud that I don't know anything about it. But when your height and your weight ratio ends up into a BMI that's a certain number, insurances sometimes will pay for some of your gastric bypass, laparoscopic band stuff, this and that, the crap that doesn't work. It works for 2 years and then it comes back worse with a vengeance. Get it? Every person. Because they never changed the problem. What was the problem? Eating the wrong crap. They never changed the problem, right? So he's telling her, my patient, hey, if you're 2 inches shorter, insurance will cover the bypass. Or if, the other way to say that is, hey, if you gain 25 more pounds, insurance will pay for it. Think about it. If you're shorter or bigger, insurance will pay for it. That's what we do. Or not we, that's what doctors in this country do. They're forced to, in a way, and in their defense, they're forced to lie. It makes me sick. It's crazy. Commercial time? And then we'll sign off. Oh, no more commercials? More memes? Okay, fine. Oh, this is great. This was an article put out by MIT. It was an article in the paper that said we're never going back to normal. You probably saw this. It was posted all over social media. I just cut this out because this greatly saddens me. I went to school for theater, performance, and jazz studies. I spent a career doing theater and music and audio, video, lighting, both in front of and behind the stage before I ever started doing this. So this breaks my heart. I'll read it out loud. This isn't a temporary disruption. It's the start of a completely different way of life. Living in a state of pandemic. In the short term, this will be hugely damaging to businesses that rely on people coming together in large numbers. I mean, think about this. Restaurants, cafes, bars, nightclubs, gyms, hotels, theaters, cinemas, art galleries, shopping malls, craft fairs, museums. I mean, what are the kids going to do? Musicians, other performers, sporting venues, sports teams, conference venues, cruise lines, airlines, public transportation. What? I was just getting my travel plans figured out. I had some big trips coming. Public transportation, private schools, daycare centers. That's to say nothing of the stresses on parents thrust into homeschooling their kids. You know what? Who just became living legends? All of the teachers. Hallelujah. They should have been decades ago, right? People trying to care for elderly relatives without exposing them to the virus. People trapped in abusive relationships, and anyone without a financial cushion to deal with swings in income. This came from MIT. I just wanted to, some of this stuff, it doesn't hit you until you go. I went to downtown Chattanooga the other night and just walked around. There's one name on the door, and it wasn't the blood of, the Exodus. It wasn't the blood of Passover. It wasn't his name. It was the COVID-19 thing on every door of every business. Shut down. Made me sick. What are we doing? We're voluntarily locking ourselves up, something they could never do. We're doing it to ourselves. Check my temperature. I might have a fever. The China that emerges, this came out February 20th. This was before, look at this. Freezing cross-province transfers and replacing 86 billion in paper yuan is only consolidating a process of surveillance where Beijing can monitor all transactions. The China that emerges after coronavirus will be what? Sound like anything relatively familiar in the last book of the good book? Next. If the herd, now, look at who said this. Okay. If you don't know what side of the fence he's on, you need to wake up, people. You need to wake up. If the herd accepts mandatory forcible vaccination, it's game over. This is him saying it. This is not me. They will accept anything. Forcible blood or organ donation for the greater good. We can genetically modify children and sterilize them for the greater good. Control sheep minds and you control the herd. Vaccine makers stand to make billions, and many of you in this room today are investors. It's a big win-win. We thin out the herd, and the herd pays us for providing extermination services. Now, what's for lunch? This is their plan. It always has been. They published it in documents. The Rockefeller Foundation document I showed you 2 weeks ago when we did the class on this topic, this thing, talked about there would be a run-on to 2010. They put this out that there would be a global pandemic with a toilet paper problem, and the solution would be a malaria drug. They wrote that 10 years ago. That was their plan. That was one of you need to watch that class. Yeah, you'd like that. But this is Henry Kissinger in a speech to the WHO on eugenics. What's eugenics? Global planned human depopulation, right? Eugenics is the old word for Planned Parenthood. You and I call it family planning now. And Bill Gates' dad or granddad was the dad, was it dad? Yeah. Was the head of eugenics, or was the head of Planned Parenthood.
Yep.
Right. February 25th, 2009. That was just 11 years ago. Next. Is that? Oh. Commercial break. Commercial break.
All right.
Commercial break.
So this one speaks to the power of the cold laser that our patients get the benefit of. This person says, I was hit with a ball on the side of the ankle. It was swollen and bruised badly. I got in here and did some laser on it. Within a couple of days, the swelling was gone and the bruising was minimal.
Awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one. Yeah.
Yep,
Big
that was very recent.
Yes, big giant goose egg on his ankle. Yes. So what's the big story on this? What's the good news? The good news is you're in a place that has a place. You're in a town that has a place like this where you can detox at the speed of light. You can do saunas. You can do foot spas. Foot spas, I'll just tell you this, increase the amount of aluminum pushed out by your body over 900% by your analysis study. That's a big thing, because when you're dealing with the things that are killing people, you're dealing with aluminum toxicity from all the stuff they're spraying, the vaccines, the food, the air, the water. You're dealing with glyphosate toxicity from all the grains and the crappy food people are eating. You're dealing with all of the crazy chemical toxicities from stuff people are putting on their skin and in their bodies. So when you've got a place here that will teach you how to eat, will give you supplements to rebuild your organs, bovine and porcine and ovine supplements to rebuild your body. That means animal stuff, mainly lamb and cow, bovine. When you've got a place like that you can hop in and do a foot spa and increase your body's output of aluminum 900% in like 30 minutes per your analysis, that's a big deal. You can hop in the sauna. You can sweat more in that sauna in an hour than you would running 20-something miles. It's ridiculous. You burn more calories sitting there. You're welcome, and you don't have to take up running. You're welcome. I saw the stuff behind all this and went, oh my gosh, people need this stuff. The other thing we did was pulse electromagnetic field therapy. You know, the unit that we have here, everybody here should have already gotten a couple complimentary visits, so you understand what this is and how this works. Huge, massive amount of things that your body can take in and push out via electromagnetic. What does that do for all of the 5G? What does that do for all the crappy stuff in your body, in your blood? What does that do? It increases circulation. Does it increase brain cognitive function? Yeah. Does it increase your body's heart function, circulation, lung function, kidney function? That small bladder you've always had, guess what? We'll pump that thing up. And so the good thing is that you're aware of this, because in order to expose, I'll just say this, in order to teach someone the truth, you first have to expose the lie. Before you ever teach someone about Jesus, you might want to show them a little bit of how they've been deceived. Before you ever teach someone about anything, you might want to show them a little bit about what they've already learned. All of this stuff here, lies doctors tell, is all the stuff that we've been indoctrinated with. And if we've been indoctrinated with that, what do you think about the media? What do you think about the people wearing masks? What do you think about the people wearing gloves out there when they don't even have this faith or the trust that God created them with an immune system that can crush any disease? They've already been, they're already out of it right here. So you're here in a place with, they drank the Kool-Aid. Yeah, they Jim Jones. They went straight up Jim Jones. So they don't know. They don't know what they don't know. So part of the value of being here is you would never, if you don't know that this exists, you never know to avoid it. You just go right along with like what Kissinger called you the sheep, called us all the sheep, right? I think he's the one, might have been the one that coined that term. And people picked up on it. Maybe. I don't know. That was 2009. Well, yeah, sheep and the goats. Yeah. But he actually referred to, the global stupid people as sheep with a herd. Yeah. I wonder if he's the first one. Who knows? But the thing is, you will never avoid something unless you first know that it's there. Right? You have to know the stuff is here, or you will be a number, you will be a statistic. I don't bring all this stuff to crush your hopes or anything like that. I bring this stuff to let you know there is a way out. There is an easy way. And it has to do with keeping your senses about you and keeping your immune system up. It's keeping your senses and your fences. There we go. Your senses and your fences. So that's what we do here. Any questions on anything before we sign off Facebook?
We have 2 Facebook questions.
2 Facebook questions. Let's do it.
All right. The first one, she asked, what are your thoughts or opinions on the use of human-dosed ivermectin as a possible med for helping with eradication of CV for positive cases within the first 24 to 48 hours?
Ivermectin.
Yes.
What is my opinion on drugs? Unless you're on your deathbed, don't take them. Because they all have side effects. Ivermectin, I'm not familiar. I'm not a medical doctor. I didn't study medicine, medical doctoring. I didn't study pharmacology. I studied physiology. So if it was, read it again though.
What are your thoughts and opinions on the use of human-dosed ivermectin?
Human-dosed, that's where I lost you. Human-dosed? Okay, continue. Ivermectin.
Yes.
Okay.
As a possible med for helping with eradication of CV for positive cases within the first 24 to 48 hours.
That's a loaded question. Positive cases. So they would have had to have been tested. The tests they have right now in this town take 7 days. Other tests you can get 2-day or 1-day tests, I'm told, but I'm sure that the expense goes through the roof, right? So if they're positive, first of all, what are their symptoms? Okay, they're positive, so, what are their symptoms? Are they on their last legs? Are they dying? Are they not able to breathe? In which case there'd be other things that you could do. Steroids, I know, prednisone, stuff like that. Ventilators, that's why they would have ventilators. Well, but ventilators are hurting people. No, I don't know. That's a loaded question. I'm not a medical doctor. My opinion on any drug is that it's a last-ditch resort rather than a first option. So, and they're all going to have side effects. I've got a book out here called Drug-Induced Diseases. If I looked up ivermectin in there, it would tell you it's this thick. It's on the front desk. And it would tell you how many diseases are caused by ivermectin, if that's even how it's said. So I'm not a fan of drugs.
Ivermectin, at least what we have seen it, is a horse dewormer.
Ivermectin, horse
so it's
dewormer.
a dewormer and parasites and things like that.
Okay.
So that's the
Okay.
type of drug. Now
Aha.
we're asking about a
Good
human
job.
dose portion.
They take them
Oh.
off the shelves.
Good
of
job.
The farm supply store. Is that the one?
Oh, that could be. That might be where I've heard of it. Yeah. Thank you, Ryan. I didn't know that. So mectin, that's telling me that it's a microbe. The ectin in it tells me there's something microbe. But yeah, so a horse dewormer, a human dosed. That makes sense.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. But here's the deal. What about rebuilding? See, there's antiparasitics. Now that I know that it's an antiparasitic, there are antiparasitics that are herbal, that are plants, that have no side effects. That if people were doing that days ahead of time or doing something proactive for their health, building up their immune system, they wouldn't even be sick. It's that whole thing we talked about with Beauchamp versus Pasteur. If the terrain is healthy, you can walk down, you can be John G. Lake walking right down,
Yep.
bubonic plague, put it in my hand.
Yep.
You know who that is. Anybody else know John G. Lake? Okay. High five. You can be John G. Lake saying, put that bacteria in my hand and it will die.
Yeah.
Right on. So I'm not a fan of any drug unless it's at the last. I would have to be close to my death, and I have been many times, before I would submit to a drug, and especially knowing that there's other ways, unless it's like a nitroglycerin or something that's emergency, like epinephrine, like boom, EpiPen, somebody's swelling up and they can't breathe. Other than that, I mean, I just use wisdom in all things, and definitely knowing that that's an antiparasitic. There's other things that you can do. St. John's wort, ashwagandha, andrographis, I mean, echinacea, they'd all be more effective than that. All of those would be more effective than that. Thank you for letting me know, Rye.
All
What
right.
else?
The second question is, what is the new Monsanto name?
Bayer, B-A-Y-E-R. Monsanto has a new name. It's B-A-Y-E-R. It's Bayer. Monsanto and Bayer merged, and they just ditched the Monsanto name because it had so much bad publicity and bad press. March Against Monsanto. You had whole movements named March Against Monsanto. So they got rid of Monsanto and just kept Bayer. Yeah, a good question. Good question. Yes. Anything else? Yes.
If the,
Do we need a mic? Or can we pick it up with the
I can
overhead?
just be loud. The
Go ahead.
COVID-19 is, if it's a mechanized situation, which I'm not sure if it's determined or not yet,
Uh-huh.
does that impact the way that we should think about it, deal with it?
Yeah, if it's a weaponized bioterror thing, yeah. Yes, but then still, if it's a weaponized bioterror thing, it's out. You ain't going to contain it. It's like genetically modified organisms. It's like DDT. It's out. There's no containing it. It's going to be there, you know. If it's weaponized, could they weaponize a virus to live longer outside of a host? If it's weaponized, it's there. Period. So that genie's out of the bottle. That Pandora's box has been opened, if you understand what I'm saying from the last time. Pandora. So could it be more virulent because it's weaponized? Yes. But then it's out. So you're going to get it or you're not going to get it. Does that make sense? So your best bet on planet Earth is to make sure that you are up here. I think I said it probably a year ago, and it was a quote, one of the quotes that we put on Facebook. You do not want to go into the uncertain future that the uncertain future that we're heading into being sick or debilitated. And this was a couple of years ago, because once something like this happens, you're already behind the eight ball, and it takes a year or two to turn the Titanic around. You need to be up here right now. Everybody needs to be up here yesterday. You need to be taking this stuff seriously. They could release a bioweapon tomorrow. Could be more virulent, yeah. So should we, yeah, I would say there would be more precautions if it was, you know, if you're in a population of sicker people. If you're living in a nursing home and they drop a bioweapon down the street, yeah, probably going to lose a lot more people. But it's coming. We all know it's coming. You know, they're going to do it, and they're going to make they're going to go bigger. They're going to go badder. So yeah, yep. But regardless, your defenses should be up here. You should be doing everything you can to boost your immune system. You should have been washing your hands regardless of the pandemic. What was the thing? Do we have the, we have the, no. We can do the commercial break, and or you can pass. Are you doing this? Oh yeah, here, yeah. But I'm surprised that people are all of a sudden using Purell and washing their hands. They should have been washing their hands.
What kind of chemicals in the Purell?
And Purell is full of, yeah, all the chemicals, cancer-causing chemicals and all the stuff. We're spraying it in between every customer at the store. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. So yeah, that's a good question, Scott. And what are the, you know, how are we ever going to protect ourselves properly from the real big daddy that they're going to drop? Who knows? It could be one of those things that's released, you know, one wind current takes it through. You know, you drop a little drop in the water supply of one place and it just starts bubbling, you know. Who knows? You're never going to avoid all this stuff. You can't. Microbes outnumber us immensely. We either have to be their friend or they will be our enemy. And that's what we're doing by weaponizing them. Yeah, and herd immunity is impossible to attain. It's impossible to attain. You will never obtain herd immunity.
Right, because they're suppressing.
Well, you're suppressing things, but think about it. Herd immunity, by the time, you'll never have herd immunity. You can't. It's impossible. By the time you get done vaccinating 8 billion people, 12 years just passed. You got to do boosters again. How are you going to do it? Herd immunity is impossible. It will never happen. Not with a vaccine.
Right.
Could happen naturally. Natural herd immunity, yes. But you're not going to do induced herd immunity into a population unless the population is very, very small. Yeah. we doing memes or are we doing commercial break? Oh, I'm not sure. Memes. A few more memes. You want some laughs before we head out? Any other questions? My son sends me this picture of his assignment. This is not funny. And this morning in school, he's in public high school, 10th grade. I'll read it. Imagine that you work. This is a workbook with the name and the date at the top. Write in response to reading, so short answer questions. Imagine you work for a human microchip company. The president has given you the opportunity to make a televised speech to the nation. What would you say to persuade people to get a microchip?
In school.
In school. This is, Simon, he's in 10th grade. Public high school, 10th grade. Funny, huh?
Indoctrination.
Well, you shouldn't talk about this stuff. Oh, really? They're talking about it in high school.
Yeah.
Why should I not talk about this stuff? You think it'll
Parents.
weird people out? If they're not weirded out already, I don't need to talk to them, period. Sorry. Next. Hope they allow us off lockdown by July 4th so we can celebrate our freedom.
That's good.
Yeah, like the Michigan governor, if she's not selling flags by July 4th, there'll be blood in the streets. Coronavirus won't last long. What else can you say to that?
Just laugh.
Jeez. Okay, next. The mainstream media lies about literally everything. It's Morpheus from The Matrix, if you don't know what that is. And then you've got What's-His-Face from whatever that is. Okay, I'm going to need you to verify that claim with a link to a credible mainstream media article. You get in conversations with people online. I don't believe that. Give me a peer-reviewed white paper, PhD level research study. And then you send them one and it's still not good enough.
Yeah.
It didn't say what they wanted it to say.
Yeah.
I've done it too many times. That's why I don't do it anymore. Next. Dave Chappelle. Now, Dave Chappelle has a good way of saying it. He says, you don't shut down $1 trillion economy because of a virus outbreak unless it was planned to enforce martial law, mandate vaccines, and pass laws to gain more power. Dave Chappelle. Whew. Yeah. Yeah, great. Next. Nisi and hand soap. Oh, we were just saying this. Hand soap shelves empty in stores, wondering why people haven't been washing their hands until now. Perfect. No commercial? Okay. All right. So we'll sign off Facebook. So we leave you knowing that this is the place. We have a lot of things that we can help you with. Big thing that we like to do is funnel the truth to some people and wake some people up and light a fire under your butt and help you to understand some of this stuff, help you understand what's coming, help you understand what already came, and help you to speak to your friends and your family and everyone to get them in here or to a doctor's office in their place. We have a lot of things going on right now. We're doing virtual visits. We do phone stuff. We do over the internet, virtual stuff. We can ship stuff right to your house. Or you can call us and say, hey, my family lives a long way away, other side of the country. Do you know anybody over there? We're more than glad to do that as well. So avail yourselves of what we have here. We'd love to help you out. Thank you. And we'll see you in 2 weeks on April 27th, the class about 5G and pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. It's called What's the Buzz? We'll give you a sign off. Well, thank you. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you, guys.